This is Racetrack Playa in Death Valley, California, and this is a Michigan loader. And 50 years ago, a loader just like this one was set ablaze right about here. A freshly cut fuel line, an empty gas can, and fresh tire tracks leading away from the scene indicated this was no accident. Hello, and welcome to DesertTrippin. I'm sitting here at the site of where the Wild Rose Ranger Station once was. And it was here that 27-year-old officer Dick Powell was just starting his day when the call came over the radio. He and a few other rangers went out to the scene of the crime to gather evidence. As more information came to light, they soon realized the sabotage piece of road maintenance equipment wasn't an isolated incident. In fact, a lot of strange things have been happening out here lately. Like a rental car that was simply abandoned after it was crashed into a tree, or campsites being left behind with trash, food, and tattered clothing, or the maze of tire tracks across pristine desert that eventually led to stolen vehicles and dune buggies hidden all over the park. Coincidentally, all of this bizarre activity started happening around the same time a strange group of hippies were first spotted in the area. This group of hippies was, of course, Charles Manson and his family of about 20 to 30 followers. Manson's crew had apparently set the loader on fire because they didn't like that the government workers were using it to block them out of one of their favorite places to ride their stolen dune buggies. This single brazen act proved to be the beginning of the end for them. Manson brought his group of followers, known internally as the Family, out here to this remote corner of Death Valley to ride out a huge race war between the blacks and the whites that he believed was going to destroy the current social order in the US, and perhaps the world. Fun fact, Manson learned of this impending race war after listening to the Beatles' White Album over and over again, presumably on LSD. And he was 100% certain that these hidden messages were meant only for him. Somewhere in the White Album, Manson also learned that he was supposed to find a bottomless hole out here in the desert that he and his family could hide in until it was safe again to come out. He believed that when the bloody carnage was over, the blacks, being physically superior, would emerge victorious. But because they were black, they would soon realize that they weren't intellectually capable of running the world on their own. So he, as the only qualified white person remaining, would rise up from the bottomless hole just in time to assume his rightful role as leader of the world. I mean, it all makes perfect sense, right? In the pre-dawn hours of October 10th, a multi-agency task force was about to close in on the hippie car theft ring up here at Barker Ranch. They had stationed officers at both ends of the Canyon Pass leading into the area. Jim Purcell, whose name will be important later in the story, and two other CHP officers hiked up here, and from this vantage point, one of them, Jack O'Neill, noticed what appeared to be a small dugout right over there, where that piece of old timber and some roofing material is now. Officer O'Neill silently made his way over for a better look, probably being a lot more quiet than I am now. You can see the dugout is right here. It's all filled in now, but here are the remains of the timbers, and the corrugated roofing panels slid down the hill right over there. Anyway, as Jack O'Neill was getting into position, right up along that ridge over there, as if on cue, three females suddenly emerged. One of them was Susan Atkins, aka Sexy Sadie, and according to some accounts, she was naked except for a red hat. Not sure if that part was true, but it certainly makes for a better story. Anyway, she had come out to take a morning pee, and the other girls probably just came out to stretch their legs. The sky was just starting to get light, and the three girls probably would have been able to see the officers across the knoll, if they had only looked up. But they didn't. So back into their dugout they went, and the officers started moving in. Officer O'Neill threw a rock down onto the corrugated metal rooftop as Officers Purcell and Steiber were making their approach from this direction. The rock made a very loud noise, and the girls came out screaming, "Why did you shoot at us?" even though no shots were fired. Susan Atkins and her 2 companions were taken into custody, along with the rest of the detainees down below. In total, about 17 adults and 2 infants were taken in that first raid that day. While transporting the suspects back to the station, 2 additional girls, Kitty Lutzinger, 5 months pregnant, and Stephanie Schramm, also pregnant, came running out of their hiding place in the craggy hillside, surrendering to the officers and offering to cooperate in exchange for protective custody. Apparently, they had become terrified of Charlie's recent violent behavior and were in the process of running for their lives when the raid went down. The girls' story bears out because earlier that day, 3 armed male family members were captured way over on the other side of the canyon, apparently on a mission to stop the 2 defectors before they had a chance to get back to the main road. Fortunately for the 2 girls, they had gotten lost in the dark and were heading down the wrong side of the mountain while the hit team sent after them went down the correct side of the canyon, getting captured by authorities in the process. I guess the girls picked the right day to get lost. I mean, how lucky is that? All in all, there were 17 people taken in that day. I'm not sure if the 2 girls trying to escape were included in that number, so the exact count isn't 100% clear. But suffice it to say that it must have been quite a scene at the Inyo County Sheriff's Office when this small mob of dirty, disheveled, and drug-crazed hippies was marched in for processing. Well, that's about it for this part of our Barker Ranch video series. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already done so, hit subscribe so you don't miss finding out how Charles Manson finally gets caught. Like so many other things in this story, it's pretty crazy. So, until next time, this is Joe Bowie, Desert Trippin', still reporting to you from the scene of the big raid on Manson's hideout. Over and out in 3, 2, 1!